Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I will be providing my review for the Star Trek The Original Series novel, From History's Shadow, by Dayton Ward. I should preface this by saying, first of all, this is a standalone Star Trek novel, so it's very easy to jump into, and second of all, this is not your run-of-the-mill Star Trek novel. This was released in August of 2013, so this was during a time period where they were doing a ton of TOS books, around the time that the movie Into Darkness was coming out. It was either that year or the year before, and so they were releasing a lot of novels for the original series, and this was one of them. And what I really like about this book is how it differentiates itself from the pack. This is not your standard book that focuses on Kirk, Spock, and McCoy and the whole Enterprise crew. They're present for about a third of the book, but they're not the main focus. The main focus is actually characters who are introduced in the original series, but are actually taking place in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. The main part of this novel takes place after the events of Roswell in 1947, all the way through about the mid-60s. And I can't give away everything, all the major Earth events, but this book kind of follows Earth's space programs as well as its dealings with aliens and potential dealings with aliens, and kind of puts a fictional twist on some real events. And it just is super fun to read about and has deeper themes. Regarding the super fun nature of this book, to me, it had the great tone about an alien investigation. It's kind of like something that you read in or see in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or something in why am I blanking on the name of the book? Race to Witch Mountain. Those are great stories where, like, the U.S. government is trying to figure out what this alien entity is and what they want and all this stuff, and it's just a lot of fun to read about. The action in this book is not stellar, but it's better than a lot of Dayton Ward action, and because I didn't know the fates of any of the characters, it really heightened the stakes for me, and so it made it highly enjoyable in that aspect. But this book is also unique in a way because it tells a really deep story about government surveillance, spying, and intelligence. This book asks questions such as, should the U.S. government be spying on its citizens? Should the U.S. government be revealing its information to its citizens? And it does not go one way or the other. There are some times where the U.S. government is right that they should not reveal the information, and sometimes they are wrong. And there's more nuanced discussion that really makes this book stand above the crowd. And it shows that Dayton Ward has important messages and themes to tell, not just standard fun Star Trek stories. At the same time, this book has some great characters. The characters that you mainly follow are James Wainwright and his secretary, Allison Marshall. I enjoyed both of them, particularly Wainwright. I thought he was a really fleshed out character. I thought he was a very tragic character with a lot of that happens to him. You really empathize with people who are in the military because you realize the sacrifices they have to make for the country. And I know Dayton Ward used to be part of the military in some way, and so he's really doing a good job of making you empathize with them. You also empathize with their families, those who work with them, the fact that they can't reveal a lot of information about what they're working on, and so it shows really good character stories in there as well. You also have some minor characters who are just a hoot, lots of fun to be around, and also some interesting aliens that are part of this alien discovery story. I really liked the Vulcan that we meet, Mestral. I thought that he was really interesting. I also liked the name of the other alien. I don't want to give away what species this alien was from, and I won't try to pronounce the name of the alien, but suffice it to say that alien was actually quite interesting and had some good quips in the book. With regards to the plot that takes place on the Enterprise, that part of the plot was very standard run-of-the-mill, and in fact, even though that part had some good moments, I found myself racing back to the part that took place in the 1900s because it was just so well done, and I also felt that had more stakes than the stuff in the present. But they do connect. The stuff in the 2268 does connect with the stuff in the 1900s, and so I think that he does a good job of making this feel cohesive. I do need to re-emphasize the importance about the risk that was this novel. This is not an easy book to sell. First of all, it's not easy to sell to publishers because publishers want, with these types of books, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. They want something they can easily put on the cover. They want something that they can easily get Star Trek fans to eat up. This book is mainly referencing one or two of the episodes, specifically the time travel episodes of the original series. What it also does is it sidelines the main characters for these characters that most people have forgotten about. And so it makes it even harder to market. And so this is a harder book to sell to consumers, and you're probably not going to make the money on this book that you will on, say, one of the crossover books like the Fall series, which came out at the same time that, during the same year, I should say, that this book came out. But what this book does is it branches out, it tells a new story, and it shows that tie-in fiction is not just about rehashing old plots or rehashing characters or just making money for a company. It's that these stories have an important theme and important messages to tell that go beyond just tie-in fiction, that go into all sorts of life. And that's something that fantasy and sci-fi have done a really good job of, that tie-in has struggled with. And so I was very pleased with not only the results of this novel, but also that it got nominated for the Scribe Award, which is one of the highest awards that you can achieve in tie-in fiction. It was nominated for speculative fiction. Now, this book came out in 2013, and it went up against Kenobi by John Jackson Miller, which I think is the best book of tie-in fiction ever. So it had a very tough, difficult year that it was never going to win in. But it's important that it was nominated because it shows the boundaries that can be broken, and it shows the importance of media tie-in fiction in general. And so I really do appreciate that. I think this cover is a fairly weak cover. I do not believe it is the worst cover I have seen for a Star Trek book. I think that still goes to the Articles of the Federation cover, which I just think is awful. But I think that this cover could have had more Star Trek elements if they had had, like, the Enterprise chasing down one of the flying saucers. I think that would have been cool. Also, if they had had maybe one of the guys shown on the cover, these kind of 1940s mobster-looking guys, if they had had something Star Trek-y on them, I think this would have been an easier sell. But this kind of makes it hard to market to Star Trek fans, and also hard to market to non-Star Trek fans, because non-Star Trek fans see Star Trek on it and they get turned off. Star Trek fans don't see this familiar aspects of it and they get turned off. So it's really hard to market this book. But I highly recommend that you read it because it is well worth the time. It will definitely be a change of pace if you're a Star Trek reader. And even if you're not a Star Trek reader, it'll be a change of pace. And so I highly recommend this book. I give it a 9.0 out of 10. Very good job, Dayton Ward. You finally got a book that cracks into the upper echelons. So if you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. If you're a fan of Dayton Ward, let me know other books of his that I should read, or other Star Trek books in general that I should read. Please comment them down below. Please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.